With the Christmas season all around us and Christmas itself, in closing quickly, I thought it would be good to review Advent and what exactly that is in the Catholic Christian tradition and what we should be doing as Catholics as we prepare for Christ's coming. So Advent is essentially that. It comes from the Latin word adventus, which stands for coming. And so it's basically a remembrance of Christ's coming and a preparation for his second coming, in addition to just that whole expectancy of that first coming. So a common tradition with the Catholic faith is an Advent wreath, which typically contains 3 purple candles, a rose candle, and then some people will add a white candle as well to symbolize Christ himself, which ends up being lit on Christmas Eve or Christmas to actually represent he's finally with us here. So the purple candles, they stand for prayer, penance, and sacrifice. So Advent's also known as Little Lent, where it's basically this additional time that we can take to better ourselves and prepare our hearts for Christ, for his coming. On the first Sunday of Advent, the first purple candle is lit, and it's the prophet's candle, and this first Sunday is all about hope. It's all about Christ's coming and what that's going to be and what that looks like. The second Sunday of Advent is the Sunday of Faith, and this is Bethlehem's candle. This basically reflects on Mary and Joseph's journey to Bethlehem, where Christ was then born. On the third Sunday of Advent, that pink or rose candle is the one that's lit. Pink stands for joy, and this is basically rejoicing that Christ is here. It's known as the shepherd's candle, and it's the one where we know that Christ is finally here with us. And then on the fourth Sunday, it's the Sunday of peace, and this is the angel's candle. This is basically the peace on earth, goodwill toward men, and that whole aspect of Christ's actual coming. Like I said about the white candle, that ends up getting lit on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, just to fully resemble that Christ has come. So with all these candles, somebody could argue, I suppose, well, where is this in the Bible that we're supposed to do this? It's all symbolic. We're human. We like to look at things and see things and how they are. And Christ talks about don't let your light go out. And it's like, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And we talk about how lightness expels darkness. And we can take this light as Advent goes on. And each time a candle's lit, a little bit more light comes from that wreath and a little bit more hope and promise, and everything ends up being fulfilled as we continue to light those candles as Christmas comes closer, and it's this huge remembrance of Christ's coming. Now, there are prayers that you can pray before each candle is lit at dinner time on the Sundays of Advent. You can find those online. You can look them up. I'm not going to go through each of those right now, but one other thing that I found that was just interesting with the whole Christmas season about us was the song, the 12 Days of Christmas. This went along with Advent too. I'm sure we've all heard it, on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. And it goes on with these 12 different things. So this song was actually written in England between the years 1558 and 1829. And it was written for the children's catechesis classes. So basically in that time, it was literally illegal to be Catholic at all. So they came up with a song that basically represented all of the different things to do with the church for children to remember all the different things. So I'll just go through them really quick. They had a partridge in a pear tree, and that stands for Christ. And then 2 turtle doves, which stands for the Old Testament and New Testament. 3 French hens, which is faith, hope, and love, which are the 3 supernatural virtues. The 4 calling birds, which are the 4 gospels or the 4 evangelists. The 5 golden rings, which are the 5 books from the Old Testament, also known as the Pentateuch. The 6 geese a-laying, which are the 6 days of creation. 7 swans a-swimming, which are the 7 sacraments of the church. 8 maids a-milking, which stand for the 8 beatitudes. 9 ladies dancing, which are the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit. 10 lords a-leaping, which stand for the 10 commandments. 11 pipers piping, which stand for the 11 faithful apostles, and then 12 drummers drumming, which are the 12 points of doctrine that are read in the Apostles' Creed. So we have this compilation of Christmas and Advent and Christ coming, and they say, oh, we don't know the exact day that Christ was born, but as humans, we like stability and we like consistency, and we know that God, it happened, and so we can look at this time as a reflection of that, whether it is actually the historical exact date. It's Jesus' birthday, let's have a cake, but we have this opportunity to increase God in our life and decrease ourselves, like John talks about in chapter 3. and we can take it, and in order for him to decrease, or in order for him to increase, I must decrease. I have a friend that has a tattoo on her wrist that's, it's like he is greater than I with a greater than symbol. I think it's just a great reminder to especially keep in mind during this time that we have the opportunity to just grow closer to Christ, let our light shine a little bit brighter, and just know that we have that hopeful expectation, and we can focus on the fruits of joy and peace and faith and hope and all of these things that are so good that God grants to us. So thank you for all of your prayers. They are definitely helpful. I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart. Please do know of my prayers for all of you as well. I have been keeping all of you there as I have been spending more time in the Word and spending more time reflecting on what it is that God has given me. So continue our gratitude list into this month, although Thanksgiving has passed, and we will continue to grow and see God more clearly as our time goes on. God bless you all. I will see you again next week, and have a happy Advent.